If you believe it, you're gonna make it. Getting stronger by the day, you're invincible. If you believe it, you're gonna make it. Getting stronger by the day, you're invincible.
Nobody, romance in the evening, the stars are deceiving me.
Good evening, Mzansi. The perfect triangle just rolled onto your timelines to serve you the realest entertainment tea. And you're watching TrendingSA right here on S3. My name is Lesego Tlhabi, and helping me make the rounds on your timelines, I have Josie's finest disc spinner and radio host, Mo Flavor.
You know, considering it's a long weekend, I'm shocked that I made it to this show. So much gigging out there. Woo!
Not just gigging, but drinking. Anyway, sitting comfortably on my left is on the throne of KZN's Umlazi is the reigning emperor, Mable.
It's good to be here. I'm happy.
Well, what's up with the hand thing? Is that like a...
No, that's in my kingdom.
What
That's
are you
how-
holding?
No, I'm holding up my greatness.
Oh,
and
no, next thing my play will be doing
it's
this.
time for top trends.
Oh my goodness. All right, so I came across this very interesting tweet about the Department of Water and Sanitation, which left me instantly perched. Like, you got to take a look at this, really. So, SAFM News tweets, the Department of Water and Sanitation says 65 million will be spent on bringing 24 Cuban engineers to South Africa to help with water problems in the country. The department spokesperson, Sputnik Ratau, says each specialist will be paid 2.5 million a year.
Love your pronunciation. Sputnik Ratau.
2.5. So soon after that, hashtag Lindiwe Sisulu popped up on the timeline, with many questioning the minister's decision to outsource a skill which can easily be found in country. Whilst the timeline was still reeling from the hefty price tag that's going to cost you and I as taxpayers to bring the Cubans in, I then stumbled upon this very interesting exclusive video from CNN. Take a look.
In Cuba, which is after all a tropical island, some towns only have water 2 hours a day, every 5 days.
We don't have water, but we're bringing in people who have water 2 hours. This decision to bring in Cuban engineers into the country to help solve our ongoing water crisis drew a widespread comments on the timelines. And boy, oh boy, many had a lot to say. Umpenelazwa said, the greatest insult is calling engineers that will come with strange designs that will not be maintainable and further require them to come over and over. Cuba is specializing in medical studies. I'm surprised by the Cuban engineers. And then Ukokese Rasane said, Cuba has a crippling water crisis that their engineers can't solve. But these engineers are being imported by ANC cadres at, do you say cadres? Cadres, at a mammoth cost to solve South African government's water crisis itself. Meanwhile, local final year and university students could solve the problem. We are led. I guess that's sarcasm.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen this movie before. We've definitely seen where the government spends millions on, Cuban officials. I would like to know from you guys, though, do you guys think this ruling party butters the diplomatic relations between them and the Cuban government? And does this override the concerns of our citizens? Or does SA need the skill and expertise of Cuban engineers? I mean, I already know which side I'm on.
Listen, Mina, I just want to speak on the fact that we have got an unemployment problem right here. And the South African government is solving Cuba's unemployment problems. I'm just like, let's start at home. We've got people who are coming out of varsity that actually don't have jobs. Let's give them the job. In fact, 2.5 million, we can hire 6 engineers, most.
A little bit. Mo, what do you think?
You know, the strangest thing is what government said. All they basically said, it was the minister and the spokesperson, that we are going to bring these engineers in. No explanation or context or paint a picture about the engineers in South Africa. We are not using our own because there's a shortage, because they lack here and there. It's literally, oh no, we're going to bring them in. And what I also find interesting is that, there are a couple of countries who, sit on this accord of engineers, where they look at issues of the training and the education of engineers, and they look at their levels of competency. Cuba ain't in that WhatsApp group. Cuba is not part of those countries, and we are. So you got to ask yourself, how do we then measure the quality of these engineers that we're bringing in?
I just think Cuba clearly has South Africa's nudes. Like, there must be some reason someone is threatening someone or whatever. Anyway, let's move on. Yesterday, the Diamond of the Ball, clearly my favorite night on earth, America's Sweetheart made its glorious and glamorous long-awaited appearance, marking this auspicious night the 93rd Academy Awards. So to say it was a night of firsts would be an understatement, with the incredibly talented Yoo Jong-yoon making Oscars history as the first Korean actor to ever win an Academy Award, and Chloe Zhao, who took home the award for Best Director as the first woman of color and the second woman ever to do it. British actor Rizwan Ahmed threw his hat in the ring as the first Muslim nominee for Best Actor. So many firsts, obviously, you know, even Jamie Foxx's animated movie, Soul, won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, making him the first lead actor of color in an animation at Pixar, full stop. So I just want to know why in 2021 we actually have so many firsts of color still. We're still having first black this, first Asian this, and it's a celebration, but to me it also is like, you guys are taking too long.
I think it just follows, when it comes to the Oscars, it follows after what we saw with Oscars being so white and all that protest. So I just think, Guti, they are now trying to make sure, Guti, they hasten that whole inclusivity
But
thing.
you can't be hastening if it's still only 2021 and we're still seeing first black actor in a lead Pixar film, first black director, first woman of color to win. You know, it's just incredible.
You know, the one thing that we should be talking about, guys, is how they kept on advertising using Chadwick Boseman as if he's going to win something, and he didn't. Do you guys have maybe feelings about that?
Here's the thing, right? Chadwick, emotionally speaking, because he's no more, is going to pull heartstrings. So the way they tried to, whether it was to honor him or pay a tribute, was also a way that they were, you know, using the emotional aspects to draw us in. Whether or not he deserved to win is a different story. We all know that somebody's got to win, and in some instances, in some categories, some performers are better than others. But I think it's literally trying to promote this idea, you know, that this show is really about honoring Chad.
But let's honor black actors whilst they're still alive.
That's the other thing, right?
How about it?
How about that? Well, I mean, what a weekend we've come from, right? If it's not Oscars, it's this person who I'm sure someone out there believes deserves an award. Vinny Day dominated our timeline following the rising entertainer Uncle Vinny's birthday celebration. It happened in the popular Braamfontein, which had all the elements: great party, chaos, organized chaos, Uncle Vinny's signature dance moves, going in the crowd.
Ooh, what was that?
You know,
You look like you're falling from
I mean, I don't even know what. I don't even know if I'm doing that. You know, you see, that's when you can tell that perhaps I should have also been there, in and amongst. But you have to check out this video because this was something else.
I'm a security guard, Agasafani. You could not do that to security guards back in my days of partying. So this party drew a widespread reactions and memes on the timeline. And now we're going to take a look at some of those funny reactions making rounds on the timeline. Umashoto reacted to the whole party with this.
Yeah, this is what I want.
Turn Me Up Chaser, Turn Me Up Chaser came for SA rappers with this. SA rappers watching Uncle doing the numbers.
Oh, come on, guys. Come on.
Skinny Reloaded laughed with this, said that this degree better dance like Uncle Vinny because wow, I am tired.
Well, judging by the reaction from this weekend, it's clear that Uncle Vinny has tugged at some heartstrings. I mean, I did not know who he was because I'm old. I'm glad I do now. He's a fire flame. Anyway, at the same time, he's positioned himself as one of the most influential and rising entertainers in the urban pop culture landscape. So I'd like to know from you guys, what do you think has given or contributed to this meteoric rise of Uncle Vinny?
It's a couple of things. I mean, Uncle Vinny's this 19-year-old who's, you know, been on the rise for a couple of years already, using his social media platform. He's cool, he takes great images, he's got a great sense of fashion, and he rolls with some of the best in the game. And we often talk about co-signing and being, you know, associated with certain big-name artists. Ricky Rick is one of those people who is heavily associated with Uncle Vinny. major league DJs. So you find Uncle Vinny, you know, rolling with these guys at parties while they're DJing. He's an MC. He is an entertainer. He's a dancer. And I think his claim to fame has just manifested beautifully through social media. And that is the power of just his platform. He's got 360,000 Instagram followers. I mean,
How
what does
many
that
do you
say?
have?
Probably half of that.
What I want to say actually goes on to that social media thing, because I think a lot of the times people think TV stars, or whoever our stars are, come from radio, come from TV, the traditional way. But actually, we've seen a lot of people, Vinny, hey, Coconut Kells, hey, Wendy, hey, you know, name them, come from social media. People are choosing who their stars are going to be. And that's why I think they're so popular. It's not people who are being thrust upon you. It's people who, the people are saying, I like him. He's a vibe. I'm going to follow him.
I get that. For me, when this whole Uncle Vinny thing happened, I was not aware that it was happening. I know who he is because of I'm on this show. I need to be on the pulse of
I'm not on
pop
the
culture.
pulse.
Yes, Uncle Babu.
Right.
on the
So
pulse.
I'm there. I'm one of those people. But I didn't know it was happening. Then I logged onto Twitter, which I'm now doing your thing, where I don't actually now go there all the time because of what it was. So I get there, my age mates are being dragged. When I say my age mates, I'm talking about above 35 going to 60 years old.
Can't relate.
We're being dragged. And the thing is, in all honesty, my 2000s, the only Vinny that we know is Vinny Da Vinci. So don't feel some type of way when people who are actually my age don't know who Uncle Vinny is. I know because, you know, I'm one with you guys. I love you, man. You know, but so people were getting dragged left, right, and center, and some of them were actually really trying to ask,
the thing is,
who is Uncle Vinny?
That's what I hate. Like, I literally asked, you know, I don't know who he is, why he's so popular, what's going on, but I'm curious. And then people were coming at, like, all of us asking this question. I was like, well, how are we supposed to know if we don't answer the question?
Thank
Well,
you.
we're
just asking in a
Thank you for giving us Uncle Vinny. Now we know. That's me as well. I'm
Look
there.
at these grown-ups. You know, if a 19-year-old is Uncle Vinny, what does that make you? Coco.
Auntie. Me, I'm the young one of this table.
I mean-
Do not lump me with you.
Yeah. All right, listen, we've got more trends coming your way. And later, Josie's Sandwich King Itumeleng Lekomanyane is going to be joining us, taking us through his journey of entrepreneurship. It is our Monday Motivation brought to you by Vodacom. Do stay with us.
You wouldn't leave me, so I died.
Welcome back to Town 3. Guys, I stumbled upon this Twitter conversation. Hi, Lasizwe. Can I take you out for lunch? Do you have money?
Do you have a mind?
This subsequently led to Mr. Smeg and Lasizwe, the hashtags, trending, with many people intrigued at Lasizwe's response and others calling for the media personality and Mr. Smeg, who has become synonymous with the luxury appliance brand on the timeline, to take a plunge and go on a date.
Well, things are certainly boiling there in that kettle. I mean, one thing that stood out for me was Lasizwe's only prerequisite, which is money, 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 money. And I mean, I want to know, when it comes to relationship, guys, do you have a prerequisite? I mean, what is it? What is that pre-requirement where you say, before you even enter, this is what you need to have?
It's so important nowadays, and it sounds so boring, but like your stance on social political issues. How do you feel about GBV? How do you feel about the LGBTQ community? What is your stance on things like that? Because if it's BS, can't believe I almost swore. If it's BS, we can hang. You also have to have a strong sense of humor, though. Literally the balance, like the satire. Humor, social issues.
I love that, Liseko, because you're not one of those girls that go out and shout on social media and then go lay on the chest of homophobes. I like that.
Exactly.
For me, it's peace and good hygiene. I want peace and good hygiene.
Guys, I'm
What's
surprised.
hygiene, though? Wait, I'm sorry. I need, what's the hygiene?
No, just be
Have you
clean.
struggled with that before?
No, I've
Maybe
never
people
struggled.
were
I've
like
never
that.
struggled with hygiene. I just want peace and good hygiene, especially in the house, your body. Everything must just be hygienic.
Yeah, in other words, don't leave your underwear hanging in the bathroom. I think I know what
Thank
it
you.
means.
That's crazy. If it's clean, you know what? I'm not going to do this. Are you?
Nobody's mentioned this one. You know, the good, the bang. Because for me, that's a big, you know, prerequisite, right?
True.
And you've got to have a great sense of, you've got to be funnier than Lesego, you've got to be funnier
not
than
possible.
Trevor Noah, you got to be funny, and
Funnier than me, my play. Like, why do you always leave me out?
and be hotter than Lutz as well. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, that's my prerequisite.
Anyway, I stumbled upon this article when I was reading Bonnie Mbuli's timeline, Society and the State versus the Woman, on actress Bonnie Mbuli's website. In the article, she makes allegations about how her ex-husband, with whom she shares 2 children, called the police to intimidate her 10-year-old son for a silly fight he had with his older brother, which happened days earlier.
Okay, she wrote, he no longer trusts his father. And unfortunately, as he is adopted, the father has created a pattern of dismissive and careless treatment towards our youngest son. The presence of armed police and the threat of imprisonment organized by the father for an uncharacteristic mistake was disproportionate and frankly abusive. So that's the one thing that stood out for me from that whole thing. This came after the kids were fighting in the house and one of them pointed a fork at the other. Unfortunately, I think it's the one that's adopted that pointed the fork. And so in Sisanda's means to discipline the kids, he then threatened them with bringing cops into the house, and they were armed. And when it comes to...
just threatened them because he actually then brought them.
Brought them. And the one thing about this is that the kid is aware that the kid is adopted, and then our parents used to be very, very sensitive around those topics. And I think Usisanda is not. And Usisanda is still applying certain disciplinary measures that our parents actually did apply back then, but we were not in tune with our mental health as these kids. These kids watch cartoons that tell them about self-awareness and all of these things. And when these kids are now confronted with a situation like that, it can't get out of hand. Sure. So for me, Usisanda in this situation was completely wrong to do it. I understand the message that he was trying to convey, but you don't do it now.
That was completely
And that's the thing, right, about the balance between tough love,
Yeah.
as it were, and actually being pretty much abusive, which is a very problematic thing. I mean, the article actually goes on to say this extreme behavior has no recourse in South Africa. This is not the first time that he used state resources to intimidate even me into silence about the rights to our children.
Yo, guys. So basically, this is something that he does a lot, where he pulls his muscle to actually intimidate.
But this is also what guys do because they know that the police are on their side. They know that people are going to not have police are not going to help in our case. He used the police to punish his kids. When we call the police for actual problems, GBV, crimes, rape, they don't do anything about it. Suddenly they're not available. Probably because they're helping out fathers bully their kids.
And that is so scary, the fact that if a woman was to call the police to come through, they wouldn't come by that fast. But they have the resources to actually come through and intimidate a kid. Oh, guys. And then there was another one where she said, my son said he ran into the bedroom terrified, locked the door and packed his clothes, looking for a rope to tie around himself so he could jump out of the window from the 4th floor and run away. How terrified and traumatized he must have been. It breaks my heart just thinking about it.
There's something about fear in any human being, but imagine in a child being so scared that you endanger your life. You jump out of a window, you could have decided to do something worse. You could have decided to take your own life. You could have decided to get into a car or do something crazy, do something stupid, and possibly land yourself in deeper trouble. And there's also something about anger in that fear. The amount of rage that is building in that child is obviously something that is scary when you think about the effects and the impact that has on a child. And it just makes you wonder about the things that happen in our homes, and what we're doing to our kids and what that's brewing and why some of them behave the way they do.
For me, the one that stood out was I had the false assumption that the boys needed their father no matter how he treated me, so I would keep quiet for their sake. I actually just want to focus on that part because for me, women have always been taught that we have to be silent, even when we're the victims, you know? Someone will be a perpetrator and for some reason, we still find ourselves trying to protect them. We still find ourselves being silenced and being humiliated by something that we were victims in. I know it's with cheating, it's with rape, it's with abuse. We always have a sense that we need to keep quiet to protect these people who are then perpetrating on us. And I love that Bonnie has chosen to speak out. I hope more people do, because I think a lot of people can relate to this. And the more we speak out, the more we empower ourselves. Anyway, after the break, self-starter and entrepreneur Itumeleng Lekomanyane takes his sandwich Ntonton's business, that's actually what it's called, further on our hashtag Monday Motivation, brought to you by our besties at Vodacom. See you in a bit.
And I keep restoring, I keep recalling.
Welcome back to Town 3. Today's youths are about pushing boundaries, making bolder choices, and creating opportunities for themselves.
So that's why with Vodabox Reward program is the best choice for you. Vodabox Rewards program rewards you for simply using Vodacom services.
And on that note, it is time for Monday Motivation. It is brought to you by besties at Vodacom.
With technology and humanity, we can go further together. Vodacom.
So our guest tonight is a budding entrepreneur who has defied the odds to start his sandwich business with little to nothing. In fact, he started selling sandwich ntontons from the taxi rank. Then he took on the streets of Jozi. I mean, this young entrepreneur has an undying zeal to succeed. And he's managed to tug the heart of Jozi dwellers and social media users alike, subsequently even just building his business on an upward trajectory. The young talented entrepreneur joins us tonight to recap his journey and some of the challenges he has encountered along the way. Let's welcome Itumeleng Lekomanyane.
Firstly, congratulations, Itumeleng, on your recent nomination at the Raising Legends Awards. How did you feel about this recognition and what does this mean to you?
So like I just got nominated for that. The public nominated me for like that award in business and leadership. So it was like something that I'd never expected for myself in this lifetime. So hey man, it means so much to me. I never expected it, but I'm just hoping that I do win it and just take it for all the hustlers out there to just like motivate them.
Yes, good
My
luck.
guy, you had 800 Rand in your bank account prior to starting your business.
Yeah.
Where did the idea to actually start the sandwich business come from? And did you think it would be such a huge success?
So basically, my starting of the sandwiches, you know, like I was at a very dark point in my life, you know. So that idea came from me just thinking about like how I was gonna survive, you know. So like I just had like this 800 Rand to my name, you know. So that was like the money which was meant for the love of my life, which is my daughter. So I just decided, I don't know, was it a selfish decision or what, but
Sure.
I just decided to actually use the money to actually start up my own business. So maybe I can actually take care of her.
Oh, Itumeleng, have we lost you?
Right, I think we have lost Itumeleng there, but what a great story. And we know how it's so important to distinguish yourself from other businesses and that it's quite a, you know, a low entry barrier as far as getting in. So, I mean, Itumeleng, I was just talking about, you know, how easy it is to get in, but also just how tricky it can be to separate yourself from everyone else. What's that experience been like for you?
The experience in business and trying to set myself apart has been like very challenging. So like I faced so many challenges along the way, you know, like having to get access into like some of the markets where they weren't allowing street vendors and to actually like having like bringing on people to my business to actually work with me and those people like stealing from me, you know. So it's been like various amounts of challenges to actually get to a point where I am. And so like right now we have like a store and we'll be launching that soon along with like our second store. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, cool. So what sort of business lessons have you learned and maybe can give some of our viewers during your journey at Sandwich and Ntontons?
The lessons I've actually learned by myself is that I learned the importance of prayer and just actually praying to the Lord, because like what you actually speak to him, he can just manifest into the universe around you. So, and also having to the will to go on, drawing strength from like all of my failures and all the challenges I've been going through, dreaming big. And also, lastly, for everyone out there, I would just like to tell them, just hustle. Like this is your last day on the planet, you know. So just go out there and just try and make a life for yourself, no matter how hard it might be.
Yes.
Thank you Thank you so much, Itumeleng. Thank you so much. We appreciate it and all the best.
Oh, and a tidbit. I've heard he's single. He said his
you,
DMs
Babe.
are open. So ladies, jump in them DMs. He said he's single, ready to mingle.
All right, and if you are out there and you also want a bit of help, check out Vodacom Business. They're there for you. And this is where we are going to leave it tonight. If you still can't get enough of us, you can visit our social media platforms to get exclusive content, behind the scenes footage, fun and lighthearted, bite-sized content, and many more. Let's do this again tomorrow. Good night, Mzansi.